Okay, here we got some mahogany veneer on a 1970s Lane end table. And as you can see, the catch light here as we spin around on the top, the grain's still pretty prevalent. This particular job has uh, 2 coats of sealer and 4 coats of lacquer. To the normal eye, it looks pretty normal. It's pretty plain. And it makes a nice finish for an off-the-gun finish. You don't really notice much problem with it unless you really zoom in, and you zoom in and you got a catch light on it coming across it. You can see that it looks pretty porous, but it doesn't feel that way to touch. It doesn't really look that way unless you really magnify it. Pore filling will help that kind of a situation. It'll make it look a lot smoother. Now we got some mahogany, ribbon mahogany. It's basically identical to the walnut we just looked at. This is a finished piece, and it feels good, feels smooth. But when you get up close and look at it, it has a grainy texture to it that when you get in the catch light, you can see cherry, and people kind of expect them. Filler wouldn't be required in this unless you're doing a glass finish top, because it's just not really that necessary. People expect to see those defects. But here, the process where we're at this point is we've used a aniline water-based dye stain on it to get the color, and then a wash coat of seal coat, just a de-waxed shellac. We anticipate some silicone problems, contamination problems in it with this. That's the reason for the seal coat. The type of materials we're going to use on this are the basswood filler, and we're using a Campbell's brand. It just happens to be what we got. The stuff I used to like to use was Balin's dark stuff. It's all basswood filler, comes in pretty much a natural color now, and they add color into it to get it there, whatever color you want. It comes a little bit too thick, actually, for efficient use, so we like to thin it down. And depending on the temperature of the air and the moisture content, you want to get the filler mixed to a point where it is nice, smooth, and creamy and easy to work with. Too thin, it doesn't work out. Too thick, it doesn't work out. Use a little burlap. Here's a little tool for cleaning out little grooves and crevices. We'll see that being demonstrated a little bit later. Another thing is have a nice stiff bristle type brush with large bristles on it. Okay, the filler is applied in a pretty wet, kind of thin syrupy coat. You don't want to just put it on like paint where you just get it wet and that's it. You actually want to work it down into the pores of the grain. So just taking it off, we'll pack it down in there more when we're taking the filler off as it goes. As you can see here, we want to get it wet all over, and then you really want to take some time and really work it down in here and scrub it in pretty good. If you don't scrub it down into the pores real good, what'll happen, or if you just kind of brush it on like paint, just one coat and leave it sit, a lot of times it'll look covered, but it's really not, and it'll show itself up as soon as you put your first coat of sealer or finish over top of it. On large surface areas like tabletops and tops of dressers, buffets, and things, after you put the filler on and you've let it dry sufficiently, you want to let it dry to a nice haze. You can take your like a credit card or some kind of plastic type material, and you can scrape off this excess, and that's put it back in a can. You can reuse it again. Works pretty well.